This video is sponsored by Paradox Interactive. In this video, I will play the Chinese Soviet Republic with one single restriction. I will not be allowed to use factories. That means no production, no building railways, supply hubs or ports, and no navy. All equipment must be captured or acquired through focuses and events. I will be allowed to accept lend-lease offered by the AI, but will not be allowed to request it myself since it's very powerful. The new focus tree for the Chinese Soviet Republic, in No Compromise No Surrender, offers powerful equipment capture bonuses. Combined with new changes to the doctrine system, this challenge might be possible. What I didn't expect was that this run would turn into a multi-decade war, involving thousands of divisions and nearly every country in the game. We begin with 6 terribly equipped divisions and a stockpile of 3 infantry equipment. So we're basically starting from zero. Since I can't produce anything, I delete all but one division and block its reinforcement. You'll see why very soon. Then I rush down the focus tree towards 2 focuses that will allow me to start border wars. My first chance to get equipment. You'd think I'd want to win this, but there's no point in gaining useless states. Losing the border wars though gives 125 artillery each. So after 2 quick losses, I was up 250 artillery, which would allow me to add support artillery to all my divisions later. But I still have almost no infantry equipment, and Japan is coming soon. I queue up 6 new divisions and hope they'll be equipped in time for war. Continuing down the focus tree, the Chinese United Front forms, with us as leader. A southern warlord sends us 1,000 rifles to improve relations. He even hands us a province, which is nice, but completely useless since I can't build anything or use any of the factories. I have enough army XP to select a sub-doctrine. The DLC adds a new modular doctrine system. You choose one main doctrine and then pick sub-doctrines for 4 categories. We start on mass assault as a main doctrine, which I'll stick with. My first sub-doctrine is People's Militia, which provides 1% equipment capture, and this stacks with some multiplicative bonuses we'll get later. Although you unlock sub-doctrines gradually by gaining mastery through combat, so it'll take time before we get some good equipment capture. Let's just move further down the focus tree. Meanwhile, I'm moving the balance of power towards Mao. He provides a multiplicative equipment capture bonus, which is great for us, since that's the main way we'll get equipment. A focus gave me 2 divisions for free, which I delete, gaining 1400 infantry equipment. I then get an event announcing the arrival of General Hei Long and his division. I delete it and grant him command of our army, since he's a militia officer, and our army will mostly consist of militia. Although, unlike the majority of our other generals, he doesn't have the survivor of the long march trait, but with this focus, he can acquire it. It's really important since it gives 3% equipment capture. The focus also gave enough army XP for another sub-doctrine to be selected. I'll choose Guerrilla War, which gives even more bonuses to militia and infantry, and another 1% equipment capture ratio for every infantry battalion in a division. Soon after, Japan declares war, while I only have 5 divisions ready. We're pushed back hard immediately, and I desperately need equipment. Luckily, a focus lets me request Soviet aid, and without hesitation, they send 5,000 infantry equipment, 750 support equipment, and 100 artillery. This single event lets me equip 8 more divisions, so I confidently send 6 divisions to the front and instantly retreat when they get crushed. I fall back to the mountains and open the focus tree again. The To Steal an Army focus grants 10% equipment capture, and the focus on guerrilla warfare will eventually lead to a new way to gather equipment, raiding Japanese weapon caches. Right now though, the only feasible way to get more equipment was with equipment capture, and seeing how the Japanese were struggling with supply to our north, I went to attack. with a 19% capture ratio. The encirclement gave us 1500 infantry equipment. Seeing how effective stealing equipment is, I try for more. But outside bad supply zones, the Japanese are tough, and their cast bleeds my divisions dry. I retreat to regroup. We were in a deficit of infantry equipment, so to rebuild I used the new guerrilla system I just unlocked. The only thing I had to do was establish a guerrilla network and then launch a raid. Each raid would give 250 infantry equipment, 75 support equipment and 25 artillery. Since the war had stalled out, these raids let me rebuild my stockpile safely. Now when I'm positive again, I attempt more encirclements. And nothing changed, they still go terribly. I even lose a division. But the combat gives mastery, unlocking the second equipment capture bonus in the sub-doctrine. I added a few battalions to the division's template and launched numerous raids on Japan to remedy the deficit it created. Before some raids reached their targets, nationalist China launched a counterattack, so I ended up raiding their weapon caches, even though they're my ally. Disregarding that, the counterattack had caused Japan to pull back some of their troops, providing a golden opportunity to possibly get some encirclements. My divisions are badly under-equipped, but attacking is the only way to get equipment fast, so I launched a counterattack. In just 12 months, Japan was completely pushed out of China, and I've stolen 21,000 infantry equipment. With the war basically over, since I can't naval invade Japan, I return home, give medals to my 9 divisions, and start expanding the army. I also designed the most cursed template I've ever made. A division with as many militia battalions as the game allows. Each one gives 2% equipment capture. So with maintenance companies and all the multipliers we get as Communist China, I had 77% equipment capture. Seeing these numbers convinces me it's time to unify China. I officially declare that we are the only one true China, and the other ones are pretenders. Nationalist China didn't take this well and usurped my leadership of the Chinese United Front, then kicked me out. But right after, we received word that their leader, Chiang Kai-shek, had been arrested by a warlord sympathetic to us. We obviously had to retaliate against his disrespect, so I prepare for the worst and execute him. Hundreds of nationalist divisions appear on my border. I have 19 total. We're landlocked, we can't get Lend-Lease, and there's no retreat. But if I want to continue this game, war is inevitable since we're landlocked and surrounded by them. Hopefully our mountains will make a defense possible. Instantly the front explodes. I'm hit by a wall of Chinese divisions, wave after wave after wave. I don't even have time to think. The first battles end and my front line starts collapsing. A few of my divisions are pushed back immediately. My stockpile goes into the negatives within hours, and the Chinese will not stop attacking. Every time one battle ends, another one begins. Within days, my ambition of world domination becomes me desperately clinging to a few tiles. And even those are starting to break. I'm already preparing for the capitulation screen. Then I check my stockpiles. As a positive number, somehow the insane equipment capture bonuses have started working. I'm still being attacked every second. I can't recover ore. Losing a single tile will mean defeat. I can't reinforce for now, but I can train more divisions. So I just sit there, desperately holding the exact same 3 tiles for months, watching the stockpile increase. A year after the war started, there hasn't been a single hour where we weren't under attack. Despite having captured just south of 100,000 rifles, we're still barely holding our ground. With no end in sight, the only way out of this is to brute force an attack. My first push succeeds, but I can't go further for now. They're assaulted and waver in the slightest, so it's difficult and risky to push since they throw all they have against me. To quickly resume the attack, I deploy 30 line holder divisions to help fill out the front line. Bit by bit, our borders are expanding and the comeback has begun. All I need is one big breakthrough to collapse the front line. After poking at the front line for a while, it finally comes. The encirclements are beginning to roll in, and to gain the most out of them, the militia stack template will eliminate them. The equipment capture ratio has increased to an unbelievable 97%. This means that if the division completely deletes another division, like with eliminating an encirclement, it harvests the entire division, practically capturing every single piece of equipment. Nationalist China had been defeated, and the real China would finally be unified. My stockpiles were overflowing, and for the first time in the run, things felt stable. I thought I'd just be able to relax now, but things were far from over. I was surprised by me being at war with the Allies. When I was focused on China, Portugal had declared war, and I genuinely hadn't noticed. What made it worse was that every single nation on Earth, except for a few, were part of the Allies. Luckily, the Soviets weren't, so I didn't have to defend our really long border, although constant naval invasions began landing on my coastline. And to my surprise, the Soviets capitulated. They were liberated and joined the Allies, and the war against me, creating a massive northern front. My lines were stretched thin, and I was frequently pushed back. This period was slow, difficult and attritional. I was often losing equipment faster than I could capture it. The front line moved back and forth without decisive progress, although I was slowly being pushed back. Eventually though, the situation began to settle. For the first time since the new war began, there was an opportunity to counterattack. Smaller pockets began to form. Enemy divisions overextended themselves, and I took advantage where I could. Each encirclement produced thousands of pieces of equipment, quickly reversing the losses I had suffered earlier. I eliminated the remaining naval invasions. Secured the coastline and pushed the front line north. Eventually, I pushed the Allies out of Manchuria completely. Notably during the counterattack, a few individual encirclements saw me eliminating hundreds of divisions at once. After having stabilized the northern front, I pushed south through Indochina. It was extremely painful as I suffered from high attrition. But I eventually arrived at the British Raj. I was met with the largest concentration of allied forces in the world. There were more than 100 divisions per tile, but I had no trucks or trains, all because of the overwhelming allied air force, which I had no means to defend against. The allies had late game equipment, modern tanks, jet aircraft, and worst of all, extensive CAS coverage. Every advance was costly, and CAS inflicted enormous casualties, and the terrain severely slowed progress. But gradually, opportunities emerged. I started getting encirclements. First, dozens of divisions, then hundreds. And then the numbers escalated. 500. Eventually, I had managed to encircle more than 1,000 allied divisions. This is probably the biggest encirclement I've ever seen. I brought the 97% equipment capture divisions. In just a single battle, I managed to capture roughly 1.2 million pieces of equipment, they somehow still have divisions, and I pushed further into the British Raj, eliminating as many of them as I could along the way. By the time the Raj campaign ended, the total equipment captured throughout the run exceeded 7 million. This was the turning point. From here, the rest of the world began to break. My army, now enormous and fully equipped with stolen equipment, pushed westward. I spent hours making my way deeper into Europe, fighting under overwhelming enemy castes. But there were limits. With no navy and no ability to construct one, I could not reach the Americas. I tried using paratroopers, but the transport planes didn't have a range, so yeah. I also couldn't be bothered to push through Africa. Still, the entirety of Eurasia now belonged to the People's Republic of China, a nation that began with 3 rifles and never built or used a single factory or dockyard. Thank you again to Paradox for sponsoring this video. If you want to explore the new focus trees and mechanics yourself, the link is in the description. And thank you for watching. I want to especially thank my YouTube members, Maccabeus, Claudio Lopez, Soviet Doge, Super Terra, Elric Liesenstein, Amop, Arn, TMQR, Aurora Dawn XX, M. Peshersk, Riven Yonkor, Eltavon, and Jason. Goodbye.